At first, I had no idea what to do. I thought it would be easier if I made a vehicle, like a spaceship. Then I started to think about how I would animate the spaceship and realized it felt pretty boring. So I decided to make a little figure instead. I then realized that I'm really bad at modeling, so I decided to do it for real and follow a tutorial. I figured the female body is quite difficult, and if I manage to create a good one, I should be able to make other things too. It took me several days, and I made many mistakes, and maybe I spent too many hours making her butt perfect. But eventually, I got a model I was satisfied with. So now I had a gray woman without a face, hands, or feet. I tried to make robot hands and rocket shoes, but I didn't like the look, so instead, I went with a foxy fox mask and some balls for hands and feet. I also thought she should have really bright hair to cover a lot, but I later had to drop the hair since I had enough problems as it was. I wanted to try drawing directly in Blender, so I made a little tattoo on her leg, but it ended up with me spending the whole day drawing tattoos all over her. I opened Substance Painter. And then I closed it. Then it was time to rig her. I decided to use Rigify but change a few things, like her knees and elbows. I haven't rigged that many times, so that was a pretty big lesson in itself, plus I learned how to modify Rigify. Then came the weight painting, which was the biggest challenge besides absolutely everything in Unity. That was probably the part one spent the longest on, and it was also the part one thought was most important. I wanted her butt and thighs to look really good when she moved. Sometimes it got pretty embarrassing, and I hoped no one would look at my screen. After a few days, it turned out well. Finally, it was time to animate. That's what I actually wanted to do. I had no idea what to do in Unity or how animation worked there, but I thought a walk cycle would always be useful, and after that, I wanted to create a powerful, flying in the air mega kaboom punch. I used some squash and stretch, which felt right for what I wanted to achieve. Later in Unity, she totally broke, so I had to skip that animation. I had never worked in Unity before and didn't understand anything. My goal was to get her to walk. So I followed this video and created a code that made her start walking. After that was done, I wanted to do more, get her to run, jump, and crawl. I realized there would be a lot of coding, so I started searching the internet to see if there was a faster way to implement those parts one wanted. I found a third-person preset rig for Unity. It had almost everything, except the jump started as soon as I pressed the spacebar, so her takeoff happened while she was already in the air. Plus, she landed before she actually landed. I never solved this, but I managed to fix the landing. After accomplishing all this, unfortunately, time ran out for this project, so I quickly just added a retro filter and some obstacles to have something to show off. This is it, my very first game ever.